Welcome to round 5 of the Manufacturers Cup. It will be taking place at Spa this week for a 20 lap race and a 4-minute qualifying session. In the race we have to use racing mediums and the weather conditions are variable. In practice this week our best time was a 2-minute 20.6, which then placed us at 9,189th in the world. Qualifying. Welcome back to qualifying, where we always go out on the track on medium tyres. Whether it's my own choosing or the game's choosing, it just seems to be the strat nowadays. If you watched last round, you'll know that we went out on the racing mediums by accident, and this week they've punished me for it and told me I have to qualify it. We should be an expert at this point, but I'll let you see for the footage that we're actually not. And I'm not very good at Spa. It was an interesting race this week due to the fact that it was a variable weather race, which meant no race had the same weather pattern. So, for example, another split could be doing a completely dry race, another split could be doing a dry, wet, dry race, and another split could be doing a completely wet race. So no one had a strategy, it was all on the fly, as you're going to see when we get to the race later on. Spa's not my strongest track, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not known for any track on the game, but if I had to say, it wouldn't be Spa. As we're going around the qualifying lap then, I don't think it's been a bad qualifying lap as far as it goes, especially on mediums. I think, we probably could do better. But we're managing to hit all of our braking points and getting the apexes right. This corner here is pretty instrumental to your lap time, because if you nail this, you can make a chunk load of time. But if you get it wrong, you're potentially picking up penalties and ruining your lap time as well. Just going in here, what you want to do is you want to be in third gear when you're halfway through this corner, so you get the traction and power out, and then as this is super in front of us, getting a little bit wobbly. No matter where I'm qualifying, I'm always getting held up by traffic, so maybe in future videos, or if you guys have any suggestions or tips for me, leave them in the comments below so I know how to avoid traffic in my qualifying lap, because sometimes I leave it too late and I'll never have the time to qualify, so I get a bit on the edge there. I don't want to miss qualifying. Hopefully the Subaru doesn't try to do anything stupid behind us. Don't think he will. Don't think he wants to ruin his lap any further. I don't think he wants to ruin my lap any further. As we just head towards the final two corners, you want to be braking just after the 150 board and then get it turned in. Not really great there from us, and a little bit of oversteer on the exit, too much power. Really slow for last sector, and we cross the line for P4. But I don't think with a lap time like that we're going to hold on to it. We qualified in P8 then for today's race at Spa-Francorchamps. We got a time of 2 minutes 21.5. The grid around us were pretty much similar times as well. We have a fellow YouTuber on the grid there. And we also have a returning applicant from last video at round 4 of the Nürburgring. So go check that out because it was a very good and intense race. As we just start our first lap at Spa-Francorchamps, going down to the hairpin. We seem to have got pulled on by the Ferrari there. He managed to have got a better start than us by the looks of it, as he just goes wide, but it will give him a bit more of a run down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. I think that's what they call it, Eau Rouge and Radion. Let me know in the comments down below, and I probably should do some research before I start making these videos, but we're here, we're doing it, and you've got to live with it. As we go here then, we've got to get this line right, as it's very easy to pick up a penalty at the top, just like this. If you go too far over onto that grey side of the track, you will pick up a 0.5 second penalty. And unfortunately, bad start to the race, we picked that up there. It's not too damaging, but obviously where we have to serve the penalty is the most damaging part, because it's on one of the longest straights of the track, or the longest straight on the track, and it's just going to mean you're going down there a hell of a lot slower than all of the cars around you. As we managed to get that curb right, our racecraft as well is something that needs improving, and that's why I'm making these videos, to document my progress. As you can see, a poor move there. We make a little bit of contact on the Ferrari, like force our way through, but he did leave the door open, and I feel like, yes, it was a lunge, but it was one of them. It was just in the heat of the moment. A lot of my racing's in the heat of the moment. As we look here, to fake a move on the Ferrari, he was never expected to make it. I just wanted to put some pressure on him, and he actually fell for it. He caved under the pressure and gave us the space there, and the fellow Ferrari following us through as well. Here we was really bad for his corner, because you want to be going into third gear as you're just getting by them bollards and carrying speed through, but we just wasn't doing it for some reason. I don't know why. again, I can see where I need to improve when I watch back these laps, and I know where all my lap time is missing. As we're coming around here then, we've got to serve our penalty now. This is the start to where our penalty will be served. You can see the penalty markers right in front of us. I think we lose a couple of positions here. I think we go back down to where we started in P8. So all the gains we made were damage limitations for this lap, shall we say. As he goes through here, and then he brakes for this corner. This is a corner you can take flat out, dependent upon your wind direction, but 9 times out of 10 it is flat. As we just go into the final couple of corners here, managing to get it a little bit better from what we did in qualifying. Not too great still, but better. And that's going to round out lap 1. Later in the lap then, we're back with some more racing action. We're trying to make a move on the Ferrari, or are we? We're trying to fake a move here to see if we can put him off his racing line, but he was having none of it. We ended up with a worse line ourselves through there, which then invited some pressure on from the car behind, who's going to make a move into this corner. And if I may say so, very nice move indeed. Well done, sir. A fellow YouTuber as well, so check him out. Going into this corner here, kind of, I think it's Commentator's Corner? Speaker's Corner, this is called, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, he's a bit slow out of Speaker's Corner, and we're getting right onto the back of his wing again. We have to just slow down because we don't want to compromise anyone's race, any racing line. We want to carry on and try and keep with the boys in front, as we've already lost a bit of time with a penalty. As we're heading towards this corner here, it's just a little bit wide on the corner here, and we look to try and make a move, but then he comes straight back over to the racing line to cover it off. A little bit risky. Again, a slow through here as we look to go through the inside again. This is where I noticed like my racecraft could do a little bit. I pushed a little bit too wide, not leaving him enough space. They're just hard racing and a bit, I don't know, you guys need to let me know in the comments below. Was I a bit too harsh? You're not leaving enough track space there for him. I feel like I was watching this back now, but obviously in the heat of the moment, this is where I need to improve. As we just head to Blanchimont, flat out here then. No lift, no braking. I think he lifted, as you see him just drop back a few attempts there. And then looking for the 150 board. And the issue here was I kept getting too far over the curb, and it was unsettling the back of the car, which was inducing oversteer, and I was trying to get the power down. It's not a good combination having the car unsettled. As we go into lap 3, we're just back after the Kemmel straight. As we see the BMW in front does pick up a penalty. I think he got that through a Rouge or Radion, and then he just hits the curb and it goes into the wall. Later in lap 3 then, we come towards this series of corners, don't know the name, where we have a terrible time from 9 times out of 10. We just take a little bit too much curb, get onto the slippy green surface, and we end up spinning the back of the car as we have too much power down. And we're trying to get the car back on track, and we're doing an absolute terrible job of it. And it's just really unfortunate that I was just pushing too hard, and I treat every lap as a qualifying lap. As we come back here then, our car unghosts at a terrible time, and we receive further contact going through the corner. Don't know if that was just poor rejoining on my half. Maybe I should have saw that the ghosting was going to unghost. Coming up to the end of lap 4 then, starting lap 5, people start to show the race strategy as we have some people going in the pits. I only have one question about P13 though. Was he already on intermediates? Because when the P12 goes in, you see that he was on mediums. So I was a little bit confused as to what was going on here. Whether he started on intermediates or not. But the medium runner's got to go straight onto the intermediates, as it was hard to judge this race. It didn't look like it was going to be raining for long. It looked like it was going to rain stop. But it was a really hard race to judge, as he just comes out behind us on the intermediates. Coming up to the end of lap 5 then, the rain started to pick up, and some corners on the track were undrivable in the drive of the tyres. As we just come into the pit here, we make a little bit of contact with a wall. Never mind about that. Selecting the intermediate tyres, and then we're going to have a little bit of splash of fuel to go into the car. A few people around us opted to come in at this stage. The people who called it that lap earlier feel like they were flying with their strategy. They knew what was going on in this race. As we take a bit of extra fuel, probably could have just went to the diamond, but we didn't. We decided to go a little bit further with it. This race was really hard for the strategy because I didn't know how long this rain was going to last. I can never judge that weather radar properly. So if anyone's got any tips for this weather radar, let me know. As we just put a little bit of traction onto the car just so that we can take the corners without having to worry about slipping out. Yes, it's probably a very bad way to drive, and I should learn to drive without the traction, but it's there for a reason. So just use it. No one's going to judge you any differently. And if they do, they're just sour. As we head down the Kemmel Straight then, we're going to show you the whole outlap here really, as I want you to see what the track conditions were like. It definitely wasn't intermediates at a point. We definitely should have been on full wets. My thinking was, oh, there's going to be like 16 cars going around this track. It's going to dry out, especially like with the weather being so sketchy. Like it didn't look as if it was going to be so heavy. I thought the track would dry faster and it was going to get wet, but that wasn't the case. And then it was just a matter of factors, just holding on to intermediates, like not wanting to take the pit losses. We weren't drastically slower than the wet tyre runners, but we weren't exactly losing a lot of time. We weren't faster either. As you can see, we're like after the break a lot more considerably early compared to where we normally would be braking. If you look at the tyre range though, some parts of the track it still was just intermediate tyre running weather. It wasn't at that full wet stage yet, so it was just really hard for me to call, especially with not having a lot of experience with wet weather races. I think we only had one off as a wet weather race in round 2 of the Manufacturers Cup, so we are coming on quite a bit. And compared to the other drivers in this race, we were quick in the wet, and I think if we did have the right tyre strategy, we maybe could have had a better result than what we did, but I'll leave it for you guys to see. As we can see, we've got a car facing the wrong way on the Blanchemont, driving straight towards us. Don't know why. In the rain here, we decided a little bit of a lift, a little bit of a brake. We didn't want to no hero stuff today, just to get it right, as we were still trying to gauge how the track is going to handle. Braking here considerably early, getting it up. As you can see, we've got 2 cars in front of us going in. They were on medium tyres as well, so a lot of people were struggling for their strategy. Probably lost a lot of time on them dry tyres as well, which then promoted us up into P10. I don't think that's bad from how lap 1 went down and the spin that we had previous to this. I think, yeah, we're doing pretty well, and now it's all about just chasing down the guys in front and doing what we can in this wet weather conditions. Moving on to lap 7 as we're going through Eau Rouge heading up to Radion. We do get all out of shape again, second time now, and we lose it and get a 0.5 second penalty. It was hard to judge this as the rain was like, in some parts it was full wets, in some parts it was intermediate, so until it had settled in we were struggling. As we have a yellow flag waved for an incident ahead, we have the car sideways in the track, just getting back on there. So we are now up into P9. Some good moves into this race, considering what's happened with us spinning out and us having a few penalties to serve. We're coming up to the penalty line now, just going to serve that as we're heading towards Blanchemont. It was starting to unfold into quite a race. I feel like we were quick out on these wet weather tyres. Unfortunately, being on the wrong tyres, it was just a case of having to do what we can with what we've got. As we have yellow flags waved ahead again, I think it is just because the cars ahead were just going slower than the race was expecting them to. As we have the Frenchman in front going into the pits, I think he wants to switch off his inters for some wet tyres. And I think a lot of us wanted to do that, but I just held on because I didn't think it was worth it. Lap 8, we're just heading into Eau Rouge and Radion as always. We managed to get it right this time. We slowed the car down more than we needed to, but we had to get it right. As a yellow flag waved in front as the Spaniard goes off track, we're able to take that position, moving us up into P7 for this race. Going on to lap number 9 then, we've got an 8.8 second gap to the car in front. We're looking to move up into P6, so now it's just putting in the chase work. Going on to lap 9, have a bit of a, going on to lap 10, so having a bit of a wobbly start to the lap there, as the gap's at 7.2 seconds. Looking again to try and eat into that lead. Lap 10 then, we're now down to 4.6 seconds, 4.7, getting ever closer to the car in front. And then at the end of lap 11, going on to lap 12, we managed to see, as we're back right on the back of the Aston in front now, at 1.2 second gap. Again, we'd always squirrel it out of that corner. It was really hard to keep the car on, as obviously if we're on wet tyres, we've had more grip in the rain. The battle for P6 heating up as we're going through these series of corners. A yellow flag is waved, so we have an incident ahead that we've got to prepare for. It'll probably be a car off track or rejoining. As we see there, I think the back marker comes on. I didn't realise it was the back marker at first, and I was worried about the unghosting. and I managed to just get the braking point wrong, hit the curb and unsettle the car, losing a little bit of time to P6, but not too much. As again, we're heading here, as you see, P5 going into the pits there. Now at this point of the race, I think it was way too late to try and opt for a different strategy of the wet tyres, but it just depends on how they went on them. So it could work, it couldn't, but for me, I just thought I'm not losing too much time on the intermediates. I feel like I'd lose more time going on to the wets, so I just decided to stick it out. But as you'll see in the next couple of clips, was it the right choice or not? Only time's going to tell. Lap 13 becoming a crucial lap in this race then, as we've been stuck behind the Danish driver. Yakuza, who just pitted for the wet tyres, has caught us up. He was coming out of the pits as we were going round the pit exit. As he goes past us there, glides past on them wet tyres, so they were the right choice, and I would have went on to him if I would have known this earlier, and it probably would have been a better race. But looking at the weather radar, you can see it's going to go dry soon. So I feel like there's no point in coming off these intermediates at this stage now. Just drive through them and wait for the track to dry up and then see if we can do anything. So the Mercedes settles the Aston off of its line, and the Aston's had a bit of a bad run through there. The Mercedes really overtook us at a vital part, really, because he didn't impede our racing line and it was a quick and easy overtake for him. But it wasn't the case for the Aston, as we were able to overtake him and just managed to move up to P5. In these next set of clips then, I'm going to shut up and just let you guys watch the racing. There will be a montage of clips. This is just showing my lap time and me closing the gap down. There you have it, guys, P5 with the contact at the end there. If it would have been drastic, I would have let the guy pass to finish Obviously, that was a bit of an opportunistic lunge off of me. Weren't really a lunge, I just misjudged my braking zone. But P5, guys, up 3 places from where we started. What a good race. At the end of that race result, then, this is how the standings look. Unfortunately, we only had time to do 1 race that night, so we weren't able to put in another race, but we'll take it. Don't forget to join us for the last round, round 6, which takes part at Watkins Glen. Thanks for watching today's video, and I hope to catch you all in the next one.